Tonight's bonus round plus is brought to you by Innovative Potential. Hello, I'm your host, Jordache, and tonight we're going to be going over just the corporate structure for Innovative Potential. Sort of what was planned, how it works. This is how the money gets spent, kind of thing. If we had any money, we don't. It's a precursor and a last word on if you want to own the monopoly kind of thing. This is what you're going to have to like expand into or have ready at your disposal kind of thing. It was all the parts and pieces identified and built into the time frame from recognizing that this technology exists through to how and why and where, and basically all of the advanced Wall Street type of considerations have already been completed. So that's basically what this book is. This is the new book from Innovative Potential called Innovative Potential. It's there to describe how to make the how many different players are going to be required to make a chemotherapeutic potentiostat be able to leave the world of paper and laboratories and actually be a finished product. It goes with this book, the chemotherapeutic potentiostat, and this is the instruction manual on what you're going to actually be making and the physical hardware that is invested in. And all of this then gets combined with the electroactivated chemotherapy, which is more the general field guide manual on how to actually use a chemotherapeutic potentiostat. From there, sort of the world's your oyster. People don't die. That's how this works. This is about 10 years worth of work, and all of this is then backed by another book. And this is my education, and the background for my education called the Kasserett Duels. And the Kasserett Duels is basically how to make a drug. It's a science of poisons and how things die, and if they're going to die, here are the basic mechanisms for metals or toxicities or organic substrates. How to identify them, all of the lab work. So between this, 8-inch book of whatever, let's measure it. We're going to measure it. What does a cancer cure look like? So it's measuring. I don't know, we're going to get this up here. So it's measuring about 6 inches. You want 8, ideally. So 6 is here. 5 on one half of it. I'm going to take the camera up here. So here's at 5 inches on one half. So it registers 5. If we can get to there it goes. It was 5 on one side and anywhere from 6 to 7 on the other. And 7 backwards, but it's 7 on the other. So there's a bit of a band gap on that. And it's basically all verified information, so you're not going to be arguing. There are a couple of pieces that are missed. So it's like, okay, so there's still FDA. They're still FDA. And that's going to round us from the 5 to 7 inches, and that'll get us to 6 to 8 inches. We're going to be working at about like 7.5 inches of just like book stacks. So we're going to have to add another like 1.5 inches of paperwork. And that's all refined. That's not rough draft kind of stuff. That's all like refined. Like the scrap has already been taken out of that. So we're going to have to add like another 1.5 inches onto that before the like regular people can even like understand or know about this thing's existence kind of thing. And that goes through the FDA, and that goes through, and there'll probably be like another study or something like that. Basically saying, basically that'll be the user's manual. So you combine the FDA and the user manual together to round you up to your regular commercial marketing, but that's grunt work at this point. No more exaggerations, that's sort of it. So this is sort of, so then that's a little bit of kind of the work that we have left to do per this thing without obtaining any special exceptions for the drug already being applied, the surgeon having a capacity to make their own decisions regarding a surgery that they perform. So that'd be just like with a blade and scalpel excision type of stuff, or compassionate circumstance stuff. So we do fit within those 3 categories of sort of like you're dying anyway, go ahead and do it kind of thing. That's the desperation. That's a desperation for something that's gonna work. That's how we at Innovative Potential, or rather I at Innovative Potential, have de-risked as much as possible. And now we're going to show you a little bit behind the scenes about what sort of everything kind of looks like and how this was envisioned and how it was planned. So I'm going to go up my little corner here. Go up in my little corner. And this is the corporate structure guide for basically duties, responsibility, like how this sort of works. So it's like Innovative Potential is governed by a unique corporate structure. And I'm still in the way. Even tighter. There we go. Let's just do that. Like this. Like this. There we go. Okay, there we go. Right. So Innovative Potential is governed by a unique corporate structure. And the corporate governance is based on shared responsibilities between collaborative disciplines. And basically the logo is the structure of the corporate structure. So it's very it's super califragilisticexpialidocious, whatever. It's super shallow and superficial for this. So basically, here's the stuff if you do business or finances or anything like this, your chances are you're missing like an actual like biology degree or something. And even if you do have like your basic biology degree, you might not have this type of specialty. So what I'm showing you here is basically the difference between like biology lingo and the business lingo. So what we're showing here is the modification that is a rough, loose overview for what this enzyme actually does. And that's kind of what we're basing the company on, is taking this enzyme in the middle, the P450, and turning it into a type of artificial metabolism product, or an artificial enzyme to be able to metabolize drugs when your body can't, or to be able to provide you, you meaning the surgeon or medical professional who would be administrating such a compound, to patients or to animals or to cells, or however you want to use it, kind of thing. That's sort of there's 3 main uses: people, animals, and cell and drug discovery type of work. So that's sort of the this is the inspiration behind it, because this enzyme is a little micro factory, and it repeats, and it's a catalyst. It repeats the same type of procedures and reactions over and like infinitely until it burns itself out and it's replaced. So it's the perfect product. We are basing our company's product on one of the perfect products here. This is ubiquitous throughout nature. It's found in plants, it's found in animals, it's found in people, it's found in fish, it's found in everything. Literally everything. There might be a couple of archaea that don't even have this enzyme, but that's be like me just stretching for the sake of stretching. So not even like paying attention to it. So how this enzyme works for the biology, for the business people, is basically there are three different types of materials. There are your raw materials, there are your processing materials, and there are your modifying materials. And these three different types of materials are going to go into your company. So it's like your company, your manufacturing company facility can take in, well, you get it, right? It's pretty straightforward. It's like, here's your raw materials, here's your processing materials, here's your modifying materials. So your raw materials are something like ores, woods, coppers, metals, rubbers, latex, plastics. Your processing, so they're going to be whatever. Your processing materials are things that you're purchasing, but they're still like plastic beads. They're not a raw material, but you as the factory are going to be doing something to them. You're going to modify them with your raw materials and your modifying materials to make your actual product. So your modifying materials are something that you're actually going to work upon. So if you're a carpenter, your modifying materials is the actual block of wood you're going to be building your chair out of. So if it's like a piece of mahogany or something like that, that's your modifying materials. You're not going to, as much as you can, you will not destroy the piece of mahogany. You will add processing materials to the mahogany, like strips or lacquers or something else. And the raw materials would be something like additional lumber pieces to make our fashion legs out of. So that's really how these enzymes are structured, where it's just like, here's the big thing that the enzyme has specialized for, and then here are these other things that we're gonna decorate your Christmas tree with. But really, it really is just sort of like your Christmas. I don't like this song. I'm gonna change it here. Boo, get out. That's essentially what we're doing here. And then you as a company make what you can make out of it, and it spits out your product and an ancillary product. So the ancillary product might be something that, we've managed to get, for every unit we manufacture, we have extra, like if it's clothing or cloth or craftsmanship, it's like if we order a piece of mahogany, we can get one table and one shelf out of that same plank of wood. You know what I mean? So it's like, for every one of these produced, we can get 3 smaller products that then sell for whatever. But the core business is table making, or the core business is something else. Or if it's clothing, out of one bolt of cloth, we can make 10 shirts, 10 pants, and 45 pairs of socks, hats, and mittens apiece from one bolt of cloth. Like that's a ridiculous sizing thing, but it's like that's how this business operates. And for the biology people, it's 2 hydrogens plus an oxygen and your substrate. The enzyme donates an electron and splits the oxygen, soaks up the protons, creates a water, and then you end up with an oxidized substrate. And that's what these enzymes do. So they're taking a chunk off and adding something to it to make their product. It's the same type of abstracted out process, and that's what innovative potential is. So what the hell do these dots mean? This is how the company's structured, and the company is structured to basically allow the point of contact has the most control, and that's the red dot there. The executive specialists are your typical C-suite, but they're there to support the point of contact. They are in turn supported by a team of specialists, and the specialists are then supported by a team of specialist supports, who are also supported by just regular supports. And basically, this works on so many levels, because eventually at some point it gets rid of that clog in the HR system where there's just so many people. There is no dead work here. It's like you're either functioning or we just chop you off and send you to another company. We just start a whole new company. Because if you have 25 people already working for something, then adding more people is not going to make them communicate better. Adding more people is not going to give them a capacity to do anything else. And adding more people is just going to like basically screw it up. We had a these were the class sizes for the laboratories, and they work great. It allows like one manager to be able to do stuff and distribute to their working groups, and it provides them with a good mesh and a good working ability, and they can like, you know, you never stop flying. It's like, yeah, you have to take like time's up, take your break, but that's like a perfect working group. These were these are my TA sessions basically. So it's like, here are a whole bunch of noobs chemical handling, and one manager can oversee them. It works at the school level. This is like, don't break this system. So if you're over capacity of approximately 24 people, make a new company, because you're going to cut down your HR stuff. You're going to cut down on your company bloat. You're going to make your company like wafer thin, but it's going to be so functional, because you're going to have subsidiaries of companies working within the same structure. So it's just sort of like an iterative fractal repeat, where we're going to have 24 of these and 24 to 26 of these types of structures. And if you can't get something done with 100 and some odd people, maybe it's like 300 people, then hey, you're bankrupt. Pow. Get out of here. So this is sort of this is the horizontal integration of like who is doing what, where, and where are they helping, and how do they do it, and like what the heck is going on here. So it's basically, I'll get to how this works in terms of production, but these are the basic, like, who is helping who and who is responsible for what. And it goes for a longevity to the corporation itself. So basically, there's the point of contact. However you want to set up the point of contact, the point of contact is your sales, and they are your customers. So the point of contact for any business is like, who do I buy stuff from, and who do I sell stuff to? And what do I do in the interim between buying stuff and selling stuff? What do I do for that? And that whole complex is the actual point of contact. You can have 10 people working for the point of contact, but the point of contact is to buy raw materials, process those materials, and then sell those materials and recoup the money. That is your number one everything. Your second layer is the founder and the owner. The founder and the owner started everything, and then they come back up. Ideally, you want the system to have a founder with it, because if you don't, the CEO might or may not have the foundational knowledge to make their own company. Typically, nobody goes into business without starting a business, because who would you give a CEO of a corporation too. It's like, I'd rather it's easier to just destroy the function of it, to just like wipe out the corporation, than to worry about these like inheritor species. And then have that person rebuild it. That's the easiest thing to do, because you just like, that the person who rebuilds it is gonna at least be the new founder. You always have to have a new founder. So while the founder and the owner are kind of the same person, they don't have to be the same entity. Particularly if you're in a larger sort of like working group corporation, or like a mosaic, the founder and the owner, the founder of the working group company may not be the founder of the corporation, of the overall. So that's sort of where we're getting with that. But anyway, then come your executive specialists, and these are the people who are supporting the point of contact the most. So if something goes wrong with your purchasers and your suppliers, who is that support staff? Who is working alternatives? Who is working materials? Can you get new materials if there's a shortage or something like that? Are there alternatives? These are your expert specialists. These are your executive specialists. You hire them to either help build and set up the point of contact, or operate the point of contact. So if you have regulations, these are your regulatory people. You need them first and foremost up front, because they're going to be with you the longest, and they're going to be able to navigate the most of this volume over time. And innovative potential is different because we've purchased a 20-year time frame from the federal government. From 2 federal governments, actually. So the executive specialists, they typically function as whatever your point of contact needs to stabilize itself and ensure that stream of purchase, refinement, and sales can't always just be moving. That's the whole purpose of the point of contact, is to just have this physical object or whatever continuously moving. Then your executive specialists are supported by your specialists, and they get supported by 2 of them apiece. These are people who are going to either be assistants, but they're permanent. They're not floating around. They're not necessarily float. The specialist supports are the float. But I'll get back to that in a second. The specialists here are, so in my example, I'm kind of my own everything at this point. So it's just like, my point of contact is sort of the screen. One of my executive specialists is me and the manufacturing people. That is, I take what I need, I go to the millwrights, I go to the 3D printing specialists, I go to the engineers, and I make sure that they physically make the product correctly to specs. That is like one whole executive specialist. And then within that domain, there are your purchasing specialists. So I can have an entire purchaser devoted to this. There's an entire purchaser devoted to securing raw materials so that the millwrights can process and the 3D printers can process and design for specific needs, wants, and quantities. Then, and that's basic. So you do that with physical properties. You do that with finance. You can do it with financing. You do it with law. You can do it with regulatory. These would be Gowling LG acting as a lawyer firm here, where they also have the lawyer, the support staff of the lawyer, and it sort of breaks down like that. All of those people work for Innovative Potential in some way, shape, or form, or have worked for Innovative Potential in some way, shape, or form to validate this business model. Finally, not finally, but the next level down are the special supports. And so these are the purple dots here. So basically, the special supports are different than regular supports because the special supports are fundamentally supporting two different types of executive specialists. Whereas the supports support it's better exemplified on this page. The supports support one executive specialist. So you might have two understudies supporting one chief financial officer, or two material scientists supporting one purchasing, or two purchasing people supporting one material scientist engineer, or two nurses supporting one doctor, or a surgeon or something like that. Those are the supports. The specialist support both the two different executive specialists. So they're going to be either supporting your physical, they're going to be supporting your surgeon and your lawyer. So they are their own, that's why they're ranked higher than the regular support, because you can do without, like, as you build and scale your volume, you can like just cut out different sectors. You always need a founder, but eventually at some point, the founder and owner can just totally, they're like a figurehead they're a figurehead for establishment and stability creation. They are not there for, they're not there for anything in terms of the point of contact. They help create the point of contact, but the point of contact can be completely independent of the founder owner. Typically, most of the time, all of this is done so that the founder owner, collects a profit off of it. But certain companies and certain structures, whether they're just like small subsidiaries or something like that, they're going to be able to function without an owner, or they're just going to be like free floating within the larger corporate goo or something like that. But that's sort of basically it. And when all of these positions get filled, you're obligated to make a new company. Because when you start adding people to this organizational structure, there is no actual room. You cannot get better efficiency control out of this working group, particularly if you're in this working group process, because it's natural. It's a natural process. If you add more to this, they are not going to fit. You have to start a new subsidiary company and put them within that company. You might just want to have a company of free-floating people so that, you know what I mean? But don't keep them like they're just in the way. Get rid of the people that are in the way. That's what COVID has taught me. Is like if you get rid of all the people who are in the way, you actually streamline this business so much better, because it's like, how much money did you save by flying or by not flying around? It's like you're richer because you're not flying everywhere. You're not sending people all over the place. You force them to just like make the screen contact, and then guess what happens? Hey, you're actually doing your job again. So that's sort of what this is. It's like the company is there to make the product and to collect the money. If you have extra people, you don't want extra people. You put them someplace else. So I kind of went over this. The owner is supported by the point of contact. The point of contact deals with a lot. So you do have to really, people talk about this is your core business, this is your stuff like that. Your point of contact is dealing with the customers, the suppliers, the owners, and the 4 executive specialists. So this is something like a gym. It's also your physical building. You have to think like this is where it's okay to think in terms of your physical building. If it is an online shop, this is your website. If it's an online shop, it's your website. If it's a gym, it's your actual facility. If it's a factory, it can be your manufacturing and assembly line. It can be your warehousing. It's a little bit more to warehousing. But as this gets fulfilled, you eventually actually do split the warehousing function out of your point of contact, so that you have a creation company and you have a warehousing company. But they're still structured the same way because you know intuitively that these things are just efficient. So this is basically the business cycle where you have your company, and your company is, and just sort of like, just repeating over and over again the thing that it does over and over. I don't want to hear that. I want to switch. I might want to switch to that, but this is kind of nice. I like this song. So we'll switch over to the business cycle now. So there's 4 main players, and they're your suppliers, your product, your delivery, and your customers. And if you don't have them separate, if you don't have them functioning right, you're gonna be hemorrhaging money someplace, because this is how perfect it is. It's like God's own machine, and this is how you operate business. During COVID, this is how you operate business since 1950, kind of thing. When you learned how an enzyme worked and learned how frequently it does the same thing, you build to that standard, not the other way around. So basically, customers make different products to help suppliers. Your company modifies materials from suppliers to make products, and then your company releases the product for delivery to customers. Delivery ensures that the customers get our products, and that's it. It repeats. It might be going someplace else. You don't have to worry about your customers interacting with your suppliers and all this other stuff. You just have to maintain this sort of open loop cycle. And that's what this image is showing. You have your company, you have your suppliers. So you have your suppliers as modifying materials and substrates. You have your company, you have your modification and products, and then they go off. You don't care. They're going off. Your delivery people come up and it disappears. They collect the money, of course, but that's the next slide. So it's like from suppliers to your materials, to your delivery in, to your labor, to your delivery out, to your actual physical product, to your customers, you have money flowing in this sort of heart-shaped, this bridged heart shape for you. It's a great time to reflect on our Titties and Cream marketing and advertising agency. I bet you want some now. Yes, always. Anywhere from birds and ice cream to it's mostly just birds and ice cream to enzymes and colors. Titties and Cream has it all. Can do it all. Hey. So basically, this is sort of the idea here, where it's like you're going suppliers, materials, like this is how you make this model work, and it's simplified. It's like, yes, there are your incomes comes from your customers, because where else is it going to come from, and your costs go to your suppliers. Your labor, however, isn't free, but your labor is not a cost. Your labor is the company. Okay? So your company and the labor have to share ownership in some way, shape, and form. That's what's actually binding this together. But because it's a small working group, so it's like this 24-person working group gets the share of the income. The profits and extra slough off to go to the supplier so that they can do it again. Wages go from materials to and basically that's where your wages proc in, where it's like as the materials you purchase from your suppliers turn into product, the labor gets their wages, and that's what keeps this wheel cycling. So for innovative potential specifically, we have identified 17 main companies and functions required. There are additional and external companies also. So you either just take their concept, create our own branding thing, so that we know, like for clothing manufacturer, we're not purchasing. We like with enough money, we can just purchase a clothing manufacturer or clothing decorator or one of those swag making people, and have them as our thing. But brand them internally for your own company. because you still have to know all of the problems that are going to go wrong with that type of manufacturing. So you might as well conceptually own whoever you are contracting with. That might not be how they do business, whatever, but you as the customer own their time because you're giving them your money in exchange for a product. So whatever you do, you own it. Basically, that's innovative potential. We own everything. Remember that Rocco's Modern Life thing at Conglomo Corp? We own everything. That's what this is. This is owning everything. So innovative potential is broken down, same sort of structure as this shape here. So we have innovative potential as a corporate, as point of contact, and then you have sort of the conceptual specialists. Then your specialist and specialist supports and supports. And I'm the owner. So there's HQ corporate, there's scientific working groups and companies, there's regulatory working groups and companies, there are creative working groups and companies, and then there are like the physical production people and their companies, or it might be refinement, or it might be dealing with physical goods or something like that. So what do we have? At innovative potential, there's me, the owner, Jordache, and the point of contact is innovative potential. Then our so we're going to talk in terms of these nomenclatures right now. Our executive specialist class companies. So the companies themselves are executive classes, and these are the scientific, the regulatory, the producers, and the creative. So what does that mean? So the scientifics are made up of a working group of 3, and that is Innovative Scientific and Talkstar Laboratory. So these are concepts. These are conceptual companies. So it's like I can go into my past, pull out physical life experience from my past, and apply it to any type of scientific research, scholarly endeavor, or analytical endeavor today. So if you want them to exist, you pay for them to exist. Or if you need something done, you contract with them to have something done. So that's what Talkstar Laboratories are. Talkstar Laboratories are actually a glimpse of the past for a university, veterinary college, analytical chemistry laboratory, and cell culture system. So if you need any type of information from that type of environment, you're going to have to find a company that will then pay it. And there are companies that do that, but internal working to innovative potential as a federal monopoly, it's easier just to sublet contracts out. So it's like if we need to have some effluent water analyzed, then we're going to spend money and get it analyzed. But you still have to have and express that level of expertise in either the creation of the data sample or the understanding and interpretation of that data sample. So you can't just sort of say, well, we got these results, because if you do, you will miss the plausibility. And that's why this is important, because that's why this is actually extremely important for owning and setting up larger corporations, because you miss the conceptual plausibility of why Talkstar Laboratories is within the scientific working groups and is subsidiary to the scientific working group. So that's sort of what's happening here. So in our, we're going to call them specialist support, our specialists, so our specialists supporting the executive specialists are actually Innovative Scientific, and Talkstar Laboratories are supporting the scientific as supporting innovative potential. So all of this data and information going back to our Going back to our 6-inch dick picture here, is supported by pre-existing information. And then additionally, going to the fifth tier of our vertical structure are specialist supports. So if you can kind of see 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So we've mapped out 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 companies now. That would be electroactivated technologies, because this is an electroactivated technology. That's where these extra helper groups come in. You're kind of like conceptualizing broader and further out in terms of this actual monopoly, and that's what makes it like, okay, well, we could do some of this stuff and we can do some of this stuff, and how it gets pulled in together, it's like, well, because all of these other people across universities, different companies, different governments are all working, maybe not together on the exact same project, but they're all sort of skirting the exact same issue and kind of coming up with these different, like, well, we could do this solution for it, but that solution is never actually just going to be the solution. It's not your solution. It's not the one that's going to make money. So they're always just sort of like, you have to be cognitively aware, because they might come up with something that you might want to use and or need. Somewhere either in the past that just isn't being used, or somewhere in the future that we got an extra piece of technology that makes something in the past way more valuable and viable. So what makes innovative potential so viable is we have surgical robots with my surgical microscopy able to do these types of very fine tissue sutures in situ with these optical probes. And you've all sort of seen the intuitive designs. So this is the intuitive Da Vinci designs, and you've seen, like, you can go Google these surgical robots and see what the surgeons are seeing at this level. And what we're saying is, like, we're going to put an electrochemical probe so that you can freely do chemical ablative intertumor injections. And you want chemical ablation on this, because if you just cook them, you're not going to get the type of ablative, and you're not going to be able to train the immune system properly, because you're just going to destroy tissue. You have to chemically alert the immune system some way and shape, and that's what innovative potential is all about. That's what's so crammed into this one little, like, picture frame here. So then our regulatory stuff is supported by innovative judicial and innovative engineering. So any work that we've done is done by an engineer, or it is done by a lawyer. So that's sort of how that's how the regulatory gets supported. So regulatory work either gets drafted to a lawyer or an engineer, and then that in turn is supported by innovative regulation. So this is more of like, this is the innovative regulation is the external FDA, is the external Health Canada, is the external, it's like the outer border that we have to interact with as a point of contact, but will not have to sort of directly be responsible for it. Like, you have to be responsible for it, but it's actually supporting us as a point of contact. The producers, so this is more innovative financial and innovative manufacturing. So these financial and manufacturing go into support producers. The physical production of a physical object needs money to support the physical purchasing of supplies, and manufacturing is the modification of it, modification of those supplies. And then financial, again, is recoup the losses. So that one small little fragment is what people freak out about on, like, business plans and stuff for. So they're only interested in the interplay between innovative financial and innovative manufacturing, and completely missing the fucking point about the scientific, the laboratories, the judicial, the engineering, the development, or the the sexy dames marketing. New medications. That's my gripe right now. It's going to get cleared up real soon. So then that leaves us with the creative. So it's like, how do you sell this? How do you bring this to market? What are you doing? The creative process is really supported by innovative development as a conceptual company, and Titties and Cream marketing and advertising agency. So what happens with these two interactions is if you get it, like, when you get an idea that you want to build upon, innovative development is really just refining ideas and getting them onto, like, getting them into a playbook that then you can sort of say, like, was this worth it? Do I want to put more effort into this on a piece of paper? Did we refine this enough to get to somebody else? Are these the other things that we're going to have to do? Like, oh my God, do you ever shut up talking kind of thing? Yes. So the next thing here is the advertising and marketing agency is like really the creatives is the whole sector where you can have fun. It's like this is where the meme on the asset creation wheel and the profit wheel, this is where the meme is located. You have fun with the meme, you have fun with the jokes, you have fun with the lightheartedness, and then you sort of turn it around. It's like, okay, can we actually build on that? Because you now have to do the work to turn the joke and the meme into something valuable and to something that is worthwhile and something that is meaningful and something that may or may not just be a straight up catharsis. That's kind of where Turmeric Farm kind of comes from, where it's just like, no, it's a really powerful experience to be able to grow your own cells in the dish. To be able to grow your own cells in the dish, sit down with the micropipette, and you're sort of like growing your enemy here, and then then you get your revenge on it. You in my case, it was, we did our bioassay. We sat down, we counted the cells. Did they live? Did they die? How many did they work? You know what I mean? But then with the tumor farm, you go one step further and you shoot it in a discus. You put it in a clay pigeon launcher and it shoots, and it's very it's not an arrogance, but it is something that is fulfilling. It's an extremely fulfilling feeling just to be able to get some control over a situation that is typically not very well controlled. But for the individual, because when the individual gets a diagnosis, they have this, like, you're going through your own like life cycle grief stuff, and it's like talking to these people, experiencing with it with your family members, all of this, like, that is very well detailed here. That's what sort of the cancer agencies are doing. That's what the support group agencies are doing. Like, there's a ton of stuff there. So if you're dealing with anything like that, use those services. Where this comes in here, though, it's like not to drain the hype out kind of thing. But it is very much I just want to fix this music because it's like it's not going to go the way I want it to go. Nope. Nope. We're going to switch to jazz because I'm not getting what I want. Okay. So basically, that's how these two conceptual industries get related back into a real world scenario, where it's just like, yeah, putting a bunch of targets filled with, cancer as a disease, and just sort of like putting them on a target shooting range, or using a micropipette with it on the button, in a physical, pay for service kind of thing. That's one of those situations where it's like, for the person with the diagnosis to feel like they can get some control, because kind of what happens a lot of time is, like, even just from speaking online and even within games, there is a massive wall of education. So people can come from any walk of life, and now suddenly they're just thrust into like, well, here comes this disease. And it's like, well, yeah, here comes this disease. So like, here's it's almost a peace of mind, saying like, okay, no, we've actually done everything we can possibly do. That's kind of Innovative Potential's niche. It really focuses in and funnels us in. It's like, if we can't do this, well, then the kids behind us are gonna have to like somehow do better. Build a teleporter. We'll teleport it out. but that's kind of what goes on within the creative subsections, because the creatives then have to have something that can be based on the scientific, the regulatory, and the producers then have to like line up with the creatives on this. So that's kind of why this this vertical integration structure works, because going back to the horizontal picture, they all support and interact with each other to support the point of contact. That's what's going on here. So the creatives still are beholden to the point of contact. So nobody's in a vacuum, nobody's whatever. Santa's own shipping and development agency is the support for innovative development and the marketing and advertising agency under the creatives, because it's like the shipping and delivery is part of the actualization of, or the follow through of that development, because it's always a development thing. Dreamcatchers is more. I'm gonna go over each individual subsection, and that is as saturated as I've become in terms of point of contact and innovative potential over the last 4 years. We're in our 5th year right now, and we have undefined external contractors. They're just sort of point of contacts we just want to use, like for one of our scientific projects or programs. If we need something done, it's basically, well, here's these people that can do it, so we'll just get like a chunk of data for them. Or like they're not like they're valuable to what we're doing, but they may or may not sort of stay, so they're kind of like in flux. And that's sort of where the corporate structure for the innovative potential symbol comes from, because like this is really all I need for. I gotta shut this off. This is just like, this is the bare minimum for this. And it's like, and before you kind of go live into sale and manufacturing, the point of contact, you have to build the outer shell for the point of contact conceptually first. And this is like everything that's gone into innovative potential so far. And this is also, I kind of covered this one in another feedback loop here, but basically this is the industry overlook from our perspective, where how we have it divided and subdivided categorized is, if you want to do anything in this type of space, these are your 16 different industrial sectors in medical healthcare, abstracted. So it's pretty much like if it's missed here, it kind of may or may not exist. So just a real fast one is broken down into pharmaceuticals, surgeries, behaviorals, and devices. So if you want to cure something, you can do it one of 4 ways. You can do it with a mixture of 4 ways. You can do it with, you know what I mean? Like, so stuff that is purely surgical are your transplants, corrective surgeries, and implants. Things that are strictly behavioral, there's your social supports, there's your chemical dependency supports, and then there's strictly behavioral dependency supports. And then devices, there's your corrective devices, there are your analytical devices like your blood glucose monitors. That's a little bit of a stretch for some people because they don't make that connection usually. And then there are your cosmetic devices, so things like braces. Corrective devices are more like casts, splints. I'm more in a physical world with that. And then pharmaceuticals, there is your chemical therapies, like your chemotherapies, your drugs, right? There are your cellular therapies, and then your microbiome therapies. And the microbiome therapies and the cellular therapies are kind of new to the docket in the last century. But you know, your microbiomes are your probiotics, stuff like that. They are your feces enemas. Those are microbiome therapies, and they can be extremely successful. cellular therapies, there are implantable cells. There are things that the COVID vaccine is for me is listed as a cellular therapy. Vaccines are a cellular therapy, that type of stuff. And then we have pharmaceutical implants, device-assisted pharmacy, therapeutic devices, and rehabilitation. So they're the last four are hybridized of the two adjacent ones. So that's more or less what's kind of going on there. So pharmaceutical implants, if you have dispensary things, and like implantable dispensers of drugs. That would be the pharmaceutical implant. Rehabilitation. So this would be like a physical actual crutch. It's somewhere between a surgery and a behavior. You have to relearn how to do something, but there might be a device associated with that relearning. Therapeutic devices between behaviors and devices, and this might be something more to help treat psychosocial issues, help treat chemical dependencies like those inhaler things. And then there's device assisted pharmacy, which would be like an actual like the inhaler, right? They're more sort of delivery vehicles for like in and of themselves. Or where innovative potential would be device assisted pharmacy, because it's also a surgical device. So we're kind of in between the pharmaceutical implants and device assisted pharmacy, right in the middle. So the company is specializing in cancer biology education products and drug development application hardware. So basically what we're kind of doing here is like this is a new subject, and because it's a new subject, we had to understand the old subjects through our own perspective. Because when somebody wants to turn around and make a purchase, or somebody wants to go and deploy this somehow, it's like no. There is actually we're not pulling this out of thin air. When you turn this around and actually sit down and start reading that 7 inches of, oh no, wait, there actually is like an additional like 6 inches on top of our current 6 inches, outlining and detailing each one of those cancer biology wheel things that point us in this direction. Because we are creating an artificial apoptosis checkpoint in a localized microenvironment. That's innovative potential. That's what we do. So not only do we have to support the education of our clients in terms of how they create their own drug development plans and treatment plans for their patients, because as the drugs are applied in a cancerous situation, there are resistances and there are things that are developed that then lead to worse and worse prognoses. It might be 2 years, it might be 5 years, it could be 10, it could be a complete remission. But for the people who do pass on, this kind of always applies. It's very much a catch-all basin for treating the difficult to treat tumors, because with radiation it does kind of get to this point where it's just through all the scholarship and reading, don't even start, because you're gonna go blind, to basically when you start laser beaming everything, it's like you're hitting it, it's going through, and you're developing backsplashes that then turn into their own cancers. Like there's a lot of algorithmic stuff, because the laser beams are the easiest thing, because I don't have to do a surgery, I don't have to do any of this type of stuff, I don't have to pay for surgical equipment, and I don't have to pay for surgical time or surgical I guess I would call it like the suite. I don't have to pay for the surgical suite, I don't have to pay for anything inside that box. It's just a radiation laser beam that goes through the skin or whatever, and you're done. It's like, but that fails. We know it fails. It's gotten better. It's got, metadromic dosing increases time, but like that's failed. That's its own area of, that's just not the biology on this part. That's its own, like if you take the wheel of biology and then step it forward. Okay, so what did you do to treat it? And then there's like a whole treatment branch off pattern of this. But if you don't get the cut section of the tree, you're never going to know how the tree branches, or where the tree comes from. And that's kind of what this is. So we have the potential stats, and you know, all of their iterations. Take what you want. If you want to be PT, if you want to do the like center showmanship, you can have the cancer gun model. If you're the robotic specialist, you know, there's a battery and pencil probe with your name on it. If you're a little bit more traditional, have your anesthesiologist manufacture it using the Joy model. Take it from the vial and just spot check with your ultrasounds or whatever, and a syringe, and you can go from there. That's sort of like what you've created here. That's what exists. Okay, so the company, Innovative Potential has specialties and expertises in the following 17 areas. The first being electroactivated technologies. EAT, and that's what it is. It's a little play. It's a for the really like electrochemistry minded here and the digestion biologists. It's all electrochemistry technology. So it's like these enzymes are electrochemical, and they break down products for digestion, products for excretion. So that's where like EAT comes from. It's an extremely powerful corporation. It's an extremely powerful mindset to have to acquire these. Like if like you're basically buying at a university chemistry department with EAT. That's what electroactivated technologies is. It's an application development company specializing in electrochemistry and electrochemical cells. So you can find EAT at a university. That's sort of what I'm saying here. So if you go to a university and go to your chemistry department, your physical chemistry department, there is a whole working group devoted to this type of stuff. But for Innovative Potential to have to distance itself from a single individual university and then be applying to a national level, broad spectrum type of approach here, this is what we've turned this core concept to the foundation of this company into. So in conversation, if EAT comes up, we're talking about, oh no, you have to go to like, these are your analytical laboratory. This is where your analytical laboratory equipment comes from. It's an EAT technology. So it's like you're in really hard end physics and physical sciences. You're like, you're not even an engineer. You're not even an engineer at this point. You just like physically work in a laboratory at the university, maintaining this equipment and or building this equipment. You're like, this is like MIT specialty, physicists kind of stuff. EAT's applies electrolytic cells can be found in applications such as electrolytic combustion engines, robotics, environmental remediation, cancer cures, and artificial and synthetic metabolism. That's kind of where this is. There's also like surface science spectroscopy. There's a ton of analytics surrounding this, but in the field and as applications, this is primarily sort of like where this technology finds its niche, where you're going to see it. Environmental remediation. It's used in water purification, so these are very generalized, sweeping applications. I got my master's in creating one of these. So Talkstar Laboratories, this is, if you have to sort of like get a TV vibe from, this is like your CSI type of stuff, the Talkstar Laboratories. It's a network of fully functional analytical and biological laboratories specializing in electroactivated chemical research and development. Talkstar Laboratories is capable of synthetic organic molecular synthesis, cell culture, electroanalytical detection, computational chemistry, and hosts a suite of standard analytical instrumentation and equipment, so like GCMS, HPLC, and total organic carbon, halide, elemental analysis. So a lot of this is commercially available. You can go to, so there are biological equivalents of this. So when you go and give blood for a pregnancy type of work, that would be conceptual, that entire laboratory structure for hormones, for blood glucose. If the doctor sends you to a lab, that is conceptually put behind the Talkstar Laboratories, just to make your mind simple, because that type of stuff that you encounter every day is also equally matched with the electroactivated technology. So it's like, if you can just sort of get these things like really simple, super, like this is the explain it like I'm 5 for a federal monopoly with multiple different drugs inside of it. So this is the Talkstar Laboratories abstraction of what is able to have happened with this type of, if you need this type. So if you need total organic carbon or the music is really slowing me down here. I mean, it's good, but we're gonna go someplace else. So it's like, so if you need gas chromatography or mass spectroscopy information, you're going to have to run it through the mindset of Talkstar Laboratories, because you have to now design the experiment to get the information that you want. You just can't just like, well, here's a thing, and then you send it off and you get it back. You're only get like, well, here's a piece of tape, and you're going to get back a piece of tape with a number on it. So like that, you have to know in a greater context what that is. And for me, this was all learned for the acetaminophen paper started Talkstar Laboratories proper. So it's like, you have to be able to design your own equipment. You have to be able to maintain the equipment. You have to be able to know how to use the equipment and develop methodologies for the equipment. This is like like you're hiring an analytical chemist for that position. And then Innovative Potential, as the point of contact, is a privately owned for-profit company which owns rights to develop and commercialize an electroionic enzyme for the treatment of cancerous tumors. Innovative Potential acts as a point of centralized contact for several divisions, including scientific, developmental, judicial, and financial operational branches. Innovative Potential offers consulting services on a project-by-project basis. And it's just Innovative Potential is just like the front runner to be able to shield and contain all of the rest of the supporting companies, expertises, and peoples. Innovative manufacturing. If I need something built, this is the mindset I have to use. This is the other hat. I'm also CEO of Innovative Manufacturing. Innovative Manufacturing is a division of Innovative Potential tasked with the manufacturing, assembly, packaging, and distribution of physical components or products. Innovative Manufacturing is environmental conscientious and committed to using biodegradable or environmentally sustainable components, materials, or processes where possible in all of its products. So ideally, we want to get that piece of graphite made out of ashes and soot from industrial sources. So if we can mix that with a little bit of wax or a type of clay, and make that electric. So if we can burn, basically I want to burn garbage and turn it into a cancer cure. That's Innovative Potential. I want to burn garbage and turn it into a cancer cure by taking an electrochemically conductive piece of ash and then applying it. That's a lot, like that requires all of these other ones to sort of validate. That's a bit of validation work, but we're at pencil lead. So it's not that far of a stretch. And then and basically we're burning money at this point. So this is that is the symbol of Innovative Potential. We literally just like burn money. It's a fire. It's supposed to be exchanged. If you're storing money, it has zero value. It's a frozen asset. What did you do to get your money frozen? Did you start a war? Unfortunately, we're experiencing that right now, where somebody started a war and got all of their money frozen, figuratively and almost literally. So Innovative Potential is the financial company owned by Innovative Potential. And this was like, you can, all of the innovative classed companies, so Innovative Financial, Development, Manufacturing, those are the ones that came first. A little bit of corporate history for you. Innovative financial is used to track, monitor, and secure fund acquisition from investors in various government development programs. Founded in like 2016, Innovative Finance. So all these are kind of like founded at the same time. All the innovative class are all founded at startup because you need them for your startup. You need the development, you need the financial, you need the scientific backing, and we haven't gotten to that yet. And you need the you need to have the at least the conceptual marketing at the same time. So innovative financial succeed or not market. I always want to say I was getting tired of innovative financial, so that's where we came up. But I just need to laugh. Innovative financial succeeds in securing funds for projects under development with innovative potential. So if we're writing grants, if we're going to do a project, we run money through innovative financial. If I have to go talk to a tax expert, it's innovative financial mindset. It's like it's entirely it's entirely a different mindset. Like the mindset required for fiscal responsibility to even get that piece, to even get that book made, the patent book made, for under $100,000 is fucking insane. But it's completely different for manufacturing because this mindset is closer to the scientific mindset because you have to have. This is where your technologists come in. This is where your material and specialized your material sciences people come in. This is where if you're gonna fail, it's not just like it's not just like bits and pieces of it's never deconceptualized at the manufacturing stage. This is where you have health and safety. This is where the guy doing the CNC machining almost like dies because a piece blows off his machine and shatters the bulletproof glass. Like that's innovative manufacturing, and it is a shot mindset versus your financial mindset, which doesn't like it doesn't cross paths kind of thing. So anything about moving money, anything about gaining money goes through innovative financial or a person specialized in finances. But it's like these people, the finance, like this is the biggest gripe here, where it's just like financial doesn't talk to manufacturing, doesn't talk to scientific for some reason. If we're going to like BDO, they don't know like the conversations that maybe I just have bad relationships, but it's like the evidence and feedback for this type of project doesn't necessarily reflect my experiences. So like I hate it when everybody's still siloed. They have to work together, cross-functionally. So that leads us to innovative scientific. Scientific is more, the difference between Talkstar Laboratories and innovative scientific is that the Talkstar Laboratories is more for the actual like laboratory glassware, make a result and information, whereas innovative scientific pushes it more to these things exist, we can use them, we can make them. It's closer to the scholarship end of it than it is to just making results. And people really have a bad time with that part of the wombology kind of here, where it's like science enthusiasts or people who trust science may or may not actually be a scientist or have done any experiments with chemicals. Talkstar Laboratories is a laboratory where you do science in. Innovative scientific is taking a whole bunch of information that already exists and producing information like it's the meta-analysis versus the full end hard wet laboratory. Right? So public health floats in innovative scientific. The wheel of health literacy floats in innovative scientific. It's also like if there's a hybrid between innovative scientific and our marketing and advertising agency, that's the wheel of health literacy. You know what I mean? That's how this works. So anyway, innovative scientific is the STEM division of innovative potential. A working group of STEM professionals, innovative scientific actualizes plans created by innovative development and reports on success. Innovative scientific physically designs, builds, confirms, or otherwise demonstrates product effectiveness for scientific, government, or in public audience. So basically what happens here is the Talkstar Laboratories and Innovative Scientific play off each other. Typically, scientific is the overarching principle, and the laboratories is the specific evidence for the overarching principle. So it kind of goes like this way. So the laboratories support the scientific, and the scientific allows the laboratories to expand. Innovative development. You use this one first. Every time, anytime you have an idea, it has to go through this. Innovative development is the research and development division of innovative potential. Innovative development is used to house the ideation process and to develop initial project scaffolds and working groups. Highly collaborative, innovative development is charged with scholarly research and project planning. Innovative development is also tasked with historical documentation of company advancements. So basically, this is your project planning sector. So it's like, we have an idea, we want to do it, we want to know if it works. Is it going to be able to work? Where and how is this going to fail or cost us money? If it dies, and if it dies, this company, it just like, boom. It just like, it comes down like the Tyrannosaurus foot and you're dead. And then lifts up. Like, if you escape the, if your project lands between its toes, you're like, you know, you're golden. But if you get stepped on, it's never going to see the light of day. That's innovative development. And its symbol is there. It's like you're trying to build the tower to the moon kind of thing. But you have to start somewhere, and if it's gonna fail, you're gonna at least have a record of why it's crap, or how far it got, or why it stopped, or does it have to be sent off? Is it a financial? You're building like the outline plan with innovative development, or some of the smaller working things with innovative development. And Innovative Potential also offers contract engineering services. Innovative Engineering is the engineering and prototype development division of Innovative Potential. Innovative Engineering ensures that product prototypes are able to integrate with industrial standards of manufacturing and product end users. Innovative Engineering is able to utilize advanced manufacturing support services and machine shops. So we also have a larger electronics. We also have capacity to reach out to electronics developers within those advanced manufacturing support services. We also have design. We also have just basically everything you've ever wanted, from chemical engineers straight on through to whatever you need in terms of fine quality and precision control. Laser cutting, that type of more craftsy type of stuff, but sky's the limit. Innovative Engineering is also tasked with documentation of prototype advances, quality control, and chemical analysis. This is more geared in-house towards the specific of the Joey, but in terms of the Joey, if physical modifications are required to the Joey to assess its performance or to perfect its performance, that's innovative engineering. If I have to work on the Joey, it's a slash the Joey's drug modification capacities. It's a project between innovative engineering and Talkstar Laboratories, because you cannot escape both of them. They both have to work together, and they're just going to be there supporting each other. And we got this vial cap was this vial cap is a project, is a remote project, is a product of a remote project from an innovative engineering. There we go. I like it. I love that. It's just a nice clean click. Oh, I like that sound. It's very satisfying. So we run that type of development through innovative engineering, and we do consulting. There's a ton, like there's infinity level of consulting work and validation work that's already been done, either through scholarship, and that's one of those things where it's like, don't discount the scholarship and the expertise of the person in killing ideas. You need to kill the ideas. Social, like this, the group working environment. It's a meritocracy. Don't even start. It's a meritocracy kind of thing. Social feel good stuff is nowhere to be found at Innovative Potential. The birds, and that kind of brings. Oh, well, okay. Maybe not yet. Innovate, because it gets even heavier. If the scientific and the engineering and the manufacturing isn't up to snuff, there's also the judicial, because this is now, we're making poison more poisonous for the purposes of treating their cancers. So it's like, so let's get the like, there's a lot of there's extreme scrutiny. Like, to say there's an extreme amount of scrutiny on anything you do and any dollar is spent is just like, well, we're either too stupid to try or too stupid to learn. And that's a lot of what I've kind of like come across. So that's innovative judicial, and it's basically lots of people blackball this, but too bad it exists. We've proven it works, and it's already used in clinics, so you can go to hell. Innovative judicial is the legal document and contractual division of Innovative Potential. It's basically clerical work for possible law cases. So we threw our patent work through this. We did our business registration stuff like that. That goes through innovative judicial. Used for drafting documents intended. Innovative judicial is used for drafting documents intended as contracts, trademarks, patents, or other forms of legal communication. Innovative judicial is used to settle disputes, develop intellectual property, or to propose inquiries to authorities. So people are very much afraid of the law, because it becomes very much a timeout thing, because in documenting everything that we've done, known, or think about, we build ourselves a very good case for why something should or should not be attempted. We provide each doctor, through the FDA, a legal backing as to if something goes wrong or something fucks up, why they should or should not suffer the consequence. Like, it really is the defining line. Was it a factor of skill? Was it of the surgeon and medical teams? Was it a factor of unknown patient health effects? Was it one of these, they died on the operating table because it was the last thing we could possibly do without having them die the next, without not being able to do anything more ever? That's like the innovative potential threshold that we're trying to establish here. Like, that's the judicial part of the FDA. Whose fault is it, when and where and how? And you have to provide a lot of evidence to have that. And that's what the symbol is. It's sort of like, because this is a global and sort of planetary first, it's the globe as the judge's gavel. So, innocent. That's sort of the, that's the heaviness here. And anybody in any type of regulated industry knows that. So there's no real surprises, but coming through the learning curves as student and transitioning into owner and then transitioning into provider of something, hardware or whatever, these things then start to take shape, and then I have to communicate this to other people to put to ease this much information in like give me a 15-minute pitch for an elevator. Sorry, I have to add this much for your elevator pitch. So innovative potential, innovative judicial is what we ran the patent through. this book and its contents, it's such a snazzy book. This book was made through Innovative Judicial. This is a product of the United States government and Innovative Judicial. There's also one of those made with the Canadian government and Innovative Judicial. There will be another one made between Innovative Potential and some other federal agency in the form of a general... see, the frustrating part is this. It's its own FDA application. This function is its own FDA application. So we're spinning off technologies, and we're sort of just to the point where who wants one? You're in charge. And you pay us, basically. That's how this is going to work for the next 20 years. Because the Joey is its own FDA application. The cancer gun is its own FDA application. The gauntlet, the micropipette, the surgical robot probe. You know, for the same function of technology and the same dosing range that we already proved is available within the limit of the vial, you know, the regular IV concentration range. So that's kind of what's going on there. Titties and cream, marketing and advertising. Okay, we're gonna switch this over and take a sponsorship break by Titties and Cream Marketing and Advertising Agency. I bet you want some now. I'm really thirsty. I could use a glass of milk. I needed something fun and lighthearted because look at the subject matter that is contained within the same company. I bought a university. It's almost easier for me conceptually to just buy a university and then have all of the PhDs and department heads just do what I want them to do. Just give me the presidency of the university, and then you won't embarrass yourselves when I rip through you. That's kind of where we're at. So Titties and Cream Marketing and Advertising Agency is a one ray of like light that is actually fun and lighthearted. It's just like I love it. It's like so much fun. It's more of a pun on words, but you can like dirty it up. You know, you can dirty it up. You can, you know, New Zealand is doing, the New Zealand Cancer Agency made a cream to, it's a mammary cream. It's just a regular skin cream, but the intent is to do the inspection using the cream, you know, cream them up, cream the girls up, and feel for lumps and do the self-examination. And that was absolutely that was like, it's a total coincidence. I've never dealt with that agency before, but it's absolutely a brilliant idea, and it's hilarious, and it's lighthearted, and it's fun, and it's, you know, fun for the whole, you know, you're gonna make a family with it, but it's fun for the whole family. But that type of stuff is what Titties and Cream Marketing and Advertising Agency is all about. So we do marketing, we do promotional materials. I'm just going to read the blip here where Titties and Cream... I'm going to put my announcer voice on. Hold on. Titties and Cream Marketing and Advertising Agency is the division of Innovative Potential tasked with the management and curation of online media and the marketing and advertisements of goods, services, and general public awareness of innovative potential. Titties and Cream Marketing and Advertising Agency is responsible for developing educational materials specific to innovative potential. So this is where we got our Wheel of Health literacy, or cancer biology, asset creation, and prototype development from, because it really is like, this is our education center. It's like, what is it? Who are you, and what are you doing here? And I use birds because Twitter, thanks to Twitter and social media, everybody has a 5-second attention span nowadays. So that's kind of what we're at. If you want to sex it up, you know, a woman in a white dress, could be me. Sorry for the disappointment there. It's me talking. It'll just be me, because Biggest disappointment. No. So that's where we're at. The birds are there, and the milk jug. It's supposed to be one of those like those old milk containers to just like, you can have a clean dirt, you can have a clean, extremely clean version of this. You know, you can go for ice cream in a park on a sunny day, and just listen to the birds sing and have some, you know. If you're lactose intolerant, you can have like coconut milk, I guess. Coconut milk kind of works. Don't really know any other white liquids besides milk or coconut milk, but you can have like, I don't know, cashew milk, or you can have soy milk. You can have soy milk with this. But it's supposed to be lighthearted, and if you want to go sort of physicality with it, go to the New Zealand portion of the show for the breast inspection cream. That's absolutely, it's so perfect. It's lovely. And then you can like but this advertising and marketing agency is actually built and designed for anyone, anywhere, from any walk of life, because it really is. You have the internet, so we fully acknowledge that you're gonna have and perceive your own information, and a lot of this part is like, well, a lot of this is sort of like from, I'm gonna say it, from outright porno, from the creators and content makers of pornography, through to Twitch, through to YouTube creation videos, from going back to the healthcare sector, because say what you want, I don't have a moral problem with sexually explicit content creators, because for the work that they do, they are extremely versed in the healthcare industry and what it's doing, because they have to be in charge of not only do they look fantastic, a lot of them actually do go to medical school in some capacity, and the risk involved with that line of work puts them in an extremely good, valuable position for any company to have consulting with, because they have to know a lot about their sexual health, they have to know a lot about their sexual diseases, they have to know a lot about the spread of infectious diseases and the control of them. So while they may or may not be in a risky position, the educational background for a pornographic actor or actress is like, we'd be happy to hire if we could ever hire people in the adult film industry. We could also use regular commercial artists. But that's sort of the idea here, where it's just like, you might not have specialized in medicine or sexual health or fitness health, or just health in general. And for something this complicated, even explaining this to other like doctors or whatever, there's a lot of misinformation for the general public to have to sort through. There's a lot of information, good information, that the general public has to sort through. And that's the idea between the health literacy wheel, where it's just like, this can't go wrong. The vitamin D is sort of like learn and self-educate on all of these topics, and you're going to talk with your doctor, and you're going to have your own blood test. You're going to know yourself about that, but it's like, you're not really ever going to miss anything if you just kind of learn about this for like, you know, put it on your fridge for a year, and, you know, use your phone and scan with the internet, or use your computer and use it as a study guide. That's the whole point of the educational materials for innovative potential, because you need to know your health literacy, you need to know your cancer biology, you need to know how to make something, so all of the rules of manufacturing and sale and business are all contained in there. And then finally, last but not least, you have to know how to charge people. Where and when and how can we charge at innovative potential? That's sort of the wheel of profit. But they're like, we have other wheels. Like there's like, we have a physics wheel, we have a Jordache wheel, we have There's a general drug development wheel, sort of like you start with your idea of a molecule and you pull it all the way around to refining the idea of the molecule itself. So through validation studies, through cell stuff, through an animal study. If it failed, why did it fail? Well, we want to make these couple of adjustments. Well, is that adjustment's going to work, or are we just going to scrap the whole thing? So it just sort of like loops around like that also. They're unpublished. They're still kind of in development, but all of that stays in cream. It also has a theme song. I'm going to let you guys find that one. It's catchy. I like it. It's catchy. I like it. It'll last for at least until 2023-ish, 2023, 24. And then we'll reassess innovative potential as a conglomerate. This is Dreamcatcher's recruitment and data acquisitions, and this is the division of innovative potential tasked with personnel recruitment, data management, data refinement, data processing, and data storage and disposal. Dreamcatcher's recruitment and data acquisitions is responsible for onboarding new partners and project participants. So this is where we recruit. This is if we get your resume, this is where your resume goes. This is like if there is something like an HR, Innovative Potential does not have an HR office. This is also how Dreamcatchers is functioning as like I said, it's data acquisitions and recruitment. So we send your resume in, we get your resume, we process it, it turns into stuff. It's also there for the internal scientific data. So it's more for the data management of the scientific generated stuff. It is more there for the data regarding financial stuff. It is just like it's a clump. It's a brick. It's a brick of data. And then your regular data science and management come into this. So the people sort of, because of the nature of how innovative potential got structured with regards to the porphyrin structure, it really is just like, well, here's 24 people. If you can't get your information out of the 24 people that you're working with, or make a decision about who do you want to put into 24, because you only get 24 people on this in these working groups. So it's like you make your decision, and then it kind of doesn't matter. So everything is sort of like on a case-by-case selection basis now, because you really are dealing with like insane amounts of expertise. Like, and then innovative regulation. So innovative regulation is one of the that's nice. Let's go to the next one. So innovative regulation is the division of innovative potential accountable for government regulatory agencies such as the FDA, EPA, or Health Canada. Innovative regulation is responsible for recording and reporting all actions regarding dangerous or hazardous materials, including wastes. Innovative regulation is responsible for internal company documentation, such as its constitution. Innovative regulation works closely with Santa's own shipping and distribution, and innovative judicial to ensure standardized compliances with government third parties. So a lot of this is really just sort of like not fucking up. So this is like another level of corporate responsibility and stewardship that ensures that, one, we actually deal with regulating agencies, and two, sorry, I misspoke about innovative judicial. Judicial is actually like contract and litigation type of stuff. Regulation is like one is internal company stuff. This is external company stuff. So if we're needing scientific experiments done with regards to chemicals, how are those chemicals disposed of? That's innovative regulation work. That is the university health and safety committee coming by and collecting the jugs of wastewater and stuff like that, ensuring that all of the, like, this is WHMIS. This is innovative regulation in Canada. Ensures company compliance to WHMIS. This is your internal health and safety organizations. If we have to ship hazardous waste products or waste materials because of the functions of the Talkstar laboratories or something like that, the Santa's own shipping delivery has to have this type of stuff if we are producing something with that. So this is important because the Joey will produce a cytotoxic effluent on purpose. There will be extra cytotoxic effluents left over per procedure, and that effluent has to be neutralized and disposed of. So not only is the Joey considered going to have a biohazard sharps capacity with it, it's also going to have a, it's an artificial organ, so anything that can go wrong with an artificial organ is probably going to go wrong with the Joey, and the surgeon, and the patient, and the surgeon support staff, and all the other surgical instruments that go on with helping the surgical support staff, and probably the very air, yes, and now with COVID, the very air this guy's going to breathe, okay? So don't tell me we're not wired for sound here. But that's all innovative regulation. And through all of those other, so that 6-inch dick picture stack of books we got in the background. Where is it? There it is. So that big stack of books there. And we have extra supporting books that will eventually like make it even taller. So do that 6-foot stack of books. All the problems are actually solved. That's innovative regulation, and most of this still falls on hospital compliance for just conducting a regular surgery. So we don't actually do anything. And we've proven that the drug is mitigated by bleach. So we just bleach the effluents and then potentially just dump it down the drain or put it in a waste bucket collector, depending on what your local hospital organization and its state derivative departments are actually requiring by state or federal law. But that's all hospital-ended work. What we're going with here is basically, is it going to be autoclavable? What are the things going to be do? How does the Joey actually get disposed of, and where does it go? Because most of this stuff is either just like thrown out, burned, or whatever. We want to use biodegradable parts because we know medicine is a very high disposable industry. But it's also going to consume tubing, and it's going to do some other stuff. So we want to sort of get everything as green as possible. So even if it's like we have a bio sourced core made from waste products. So if we can get ashes refined a little bit from combusted garbage and make the graphite rod, make the electrically, it doesn't have to be graphite, it could be an electrically conductive rod as not the power source, but as the working engine for this. And the electrolytic cell, that is something that is, it's a tax break for everybody because now you're a carbon off. We have a built-in carbon offset in the Joey and every other chemotherapy. The chemotherapeutic potentiostat has a carbon offset built into its core functionalities and can't get funding. It's going to nuke Russia at some point. Anyway. Innovative regulation is basically how do you dispose of all of this stuff from a toxicological standpoint and or a biohazard standpoint. So if you require the education, you can pay Innovative Potential and we'll teach you absolutely everything. Speaking of that is an advertisement sound from Innovative Financial. If you don't know what we're talking about, pay us and we'll inform you. So after innovative regulation comes Santa's own shipping and distribution, because this system just got so friggin' gigantic, we had to hire Santa Claus himself. His name is Nick. Coincidentally, my cousin's name is Nick. Is there a relation? Who knows? Santa's own shipping and distribution is in charge of tracking and moving goods to and from the various divisions of Innovative Potential and its clients. Santa's own shipping and distribution houses the logistics, warehousing, and transportation of goods, products, and wastes. Santa's own shipping and distribution works with third-party vehicle fleets and personnel to deliver the wins. Santa's own shipping and distribution works closest with innovative manufacturing, innovative scientific, and innovative financial. So what the ideology here is basically, how do we get stuff? How do we get stuff to use and do, and how do we get that to you to use and do? And that's why Santa's Own works with innovative manufacturing, scientific, and financial, because not only is it in charge of raw goods, it is in charge of waste disposal, and it is in charge of it's the mover and shaker with the financial. So it's like it either buys stuff, so someone comes to us from a different company. It's being mindful of all of these things that can go wrong, probably will go wrong with a corporation this absolutely gigantic. It's massive. It's super massive. But there's also the health concerns of prolonged sitting with the truck drivers. There's also your regular vehicle shipping type of accident insurance, car or regular driving car insurance, that type of thing. There's physical moving and physical lifting. There's your warehousing. I think this is warehousing. So it's like if we manufacture something, this is your warehousing and distribution center, and then it goes back out. So these are the real industrial jobs. And Santa owns a factory. He has workers working for him. Santa's married, Everyone likes Santa. Santa gets the job done. And even if Santa has to run the delivery himself, he does it. How he manages to do it all in one day, in one night, that's his magic of wind. But that's sort of what the greater shipping and delivery industry is sort of all about. I'm not really going to say anything more about that, because Santa's own shipping and distribution is pretty much, everybody knows what that is, thanks to Amazon, thanks to between Amazon, Federal Express, Canada Post, the big national major shipping and delivery things, down to the local shipping and delivery companies that are specializing in the intake and outgoing of parcels and packages. Everybody has ordered something online. A lot of people have either specialized in online goods or something like that, where they have to then take their goods and mail and ship them. So, this is basically like the massive shipping and distribution of goods, and how innovative potential integrates with that system. And then there's Colonel and Jordache's tumor farm. This is one of those off-spin ones. It's one of those hard to swallow ones, but it's one of those like catharsises that it's like you're glad it's there. I'm glad it's there. I spoke on this earlier when we were talking about gaining control back when you really kind of don't have it, and being able to. Originally, I was going to call it Colonel Jordache's tumor farm, but that wasn't really flying. It kind of came from the mania phase of something I liked to do, but because it's basically a duck hunt shooting range for petri dishes filled with cancer, I need a master at arms kind of thing. And if we can hire an armed forces specialist, then by all means, let's hire an actual colonel to run the shooting range. It's a good retirement kind of thing, and they get to run cell culture at the same time. So that's sort of this. It's a working title, but it's the gist of it. Colonel and Jordache's tumor farm is a cell culture laboratory and shooting range. It's intended to be a public access point between the general public and innovative potential. It's an educational center, as well as a means for a person with a diagnosis to just sort of like feel like they themselves can do something, rather than being put at the mercy of about 20 different other people and faces corporations like me. It's really, it's kind of a fundraiser. It's kind of something that it's like, no, you can learn to grow, like you can grow your own cells. You can look at them under a microscope. You can use the Joey or one of the like the pipette, if you wanted to use the pipette to do the electrochemical activation. But it's one of these things that you can stick on the back of a tractor trailer or put inside of like a traveling bus kind of thing, and put it at the state fair and actually show and demonstrate. There are these types of things, like it's general cancer education and awareness, but it's something that the people can do in a demonstrated thing. And for like $20 you can go in and, you know, do the pipettes and transfer the thing, like do the pipettes and transfer the equipment and transfer the goo and replate them and look at them under their microscope and count them, and then, you know, line up your targets and have at her kind of thing. It's just more of a laboratory that you can take to a shooting range for that purpose. So it's more of like, it's basically a shooting range with a laboratory. It feels good. It feels good. It feels good to kill these cancer cells, because it's a feeling of getting power and control back in your life when a lot of that power and control was actually taken away. It's something that is not really offered by universities. It's not offered by colleges. Having a cell culture workshop is rare, random, and far between. It doesn't exist. A lot of nurses don't know how to do cell culture, so it's not really typically available in nursing. That might be phlebotomists, but to ask them to do the laboratory work, that's a different union, that's a different everything. It's like, ooh, taboo, right? But it's extremely valuable, and it's its own billion-dollar business. And it's franchisable too. So basically, the tumor farm, the concept of the tumor farm is a family-friendly education center for cancer biology, cell culture, gun safety, always gun safety, and marksmanship. Guests are able to grow their own cancer cell lines and tumor suspensions, investigate them microscopically, and get revenge for the loss of their loved ones. And sort of like in that, like, this isn't a hard sell, but it's a very sensitive sell. And just sort of do all of that one fun-filled afternoon where it's just like, you know what, the funeral is over with. So this is more closer to my experience. When I lost my grandmother, you're a kid, you don't have any power. I lost my uncle again, and I had some power, both of them to cancer, but it was more of like, well, then I still had to work for 2 years to get the cell culture training and technique just to be able to have this conversation right now. So it took 25 years since my grandmother died to have this conversation, to the point where it's like, yeah, no, you can actually do this. It's cheap. They grow in like soup broth, modified soup broth, but basically they grow in soup broth. So it is entirely feasible. It's a wonderful distraction. It's a very good feeling, and it's an excellent way to begin a science or STEM education, because it's like, put yourself in the position of that 10-year-old or 8-year-old, and it's just like, you know what, this thing killed my grandma. You know what I mean? Like that's the mentality you're working with here. Or it's like, or I have this thing that might kill me, or it's like walking and running for the cure isn't good enough. It's not good enough when you can you have to put the killer, like to put the killer in the dish and then, you know, blow it away. That is more of that's gaining control. That's gaining what was taken away back. That's innovative potential. Also, Innovative Potential owns the rights to the cancer gun in North America. In the United States, we don't have anything. We have a mentorship in Mexico, but that's just general world over. No, we declared through PCT. So yes, we did actually invent in Mexico. We're not patented in Mexico, but we did invent via PCT, the Patent Cooperation Treaty. So franchise opportunities exist world over, and patented in the United States. So cancer gun can be available through the Colonel and Jordache's tumor farm scenario. Hopefully your master at arms, sort of owner and operator of the shooting range. So there'd be two different separate there, but it would be fun. Seat shooting and target range available. Occupants is permitting. It's a regular business. These are all regular businesses that we're just sort of smashing together and see what comes out, and we're getting good results. Tumor farm. Hey, let's go. It doesn't sound terrible, but it had a conversation last night actually about just someone lost their father recently, and it's just like, it doesn't sound palatable at all, but at the same time it's like you kind of actually just want to go and just like fire off around, because like, what do you do? Like, fuck off, what do you do? Like, this is what you do. You go and learn how to grow the thing that killed your loved one, and then you like take it out. That's the human response. That's the human element. That's the human response. That's titties and cream and innovative potential smashed together. We came up with duck hunt. The end? No, that's not it. We're going to put all of this, we're going to wrap it all and put it in a U.S. limited liability holding corporation for foreign patented assets. And this is kind of going to be our new symbol. So it's going to incorporate the U.S. holding corporation around it. And all of our subsidiaries and all of our helpers and all this stuff at Innovative Potential. It expands our market formally into the United States, because we've been sort of just operating and getting like absolutely zero traction in Canada. Because all of this is still dredging up the past from 2009. So all of this is like past work from 2009, and we want to go into the future just as strong as we came from the past, I guess. So all of this has been like 15 years worth of housekeeping, and now we want to take all of that. We want to take this house and just sort of float it around in the sky almost. So no, it's not the end for Innovative Potential, but we're gonna basically, all of this type of stuff is just sort of like cooled off. It is now an object, and we're gonna try and get that object licensed so that other people can make, use, and develop this stuff to treat their stuff with, to educate themselves with, to have some fun with, to just live their lives with, and get some of that stuff that they lost back. That's what Innovative Potential is about. It originally was a gigantic coping mechanism, but it's turning out to be able to just access absolutely everyone on the face of the earth. So that's Innovative Potential. That's the wrap up for Innovative Potential. We got another book coming out. We got a whole bunch of website changes coming up. The format for this is Jordache Boudreau being sponsored by Innovative Potential. So that allows me way more freedom than actually having the Innovative Potential corporate itself doing it. Because people get into branding, people get into all this stuff, people want their own ideas. It gets really washed over to the point of just being like impotent and useless. When I'm doing this, I'm sponsored by the company. I own the company. I do what I want with the company. The company works for me. They do what I want them, what I need them to do, not what I want them to do, what I need them to do, because it really is like, it's just like outright desperation kind of thing. Simply because nobody anywhere is able to do this, period. So we blocked surgical robotics development with the pencil patent, and now they got to get caught up. So we got to wait for them to get caught up and return our calls and return our emails and really just generally get their engineering staff to pull their head out of their asses and get to work. So that's innovative potential. That's where we're at. We're just sort of floating in we're like an ice cube we're like a fly in the ice cube. We're the fly in the ice cube in the martini glass. We're special. We're the special case scenario. The more money you give us, the more we can accomplish. The more we flesh it out, the more it looks like the rest of what you already see. I kind of don't want that to happen, but you want us to exist. You really do want us to exist. Formally and more powerful than ever before. This is how it works. This is what it is. You're quite literally almost dead without us. And that's why you pay innovative potentially through your tax dollars. Because we're stopping other states and provinces from using the technology, from even developing it. That's what a patent is. It focuses monies to where it is needed most. And when we don't get those monies, 1,800 people a day die. They're still dying. We have the intervention to lower those deaths. That's what innovative potential is. We stop death from happening. That's why this is important. If you don't understand it, here comes another advertisement from Innovative Financial. If you don't know what we're talking about, pay us and we'll tell you. Innovative Financial. All right, back to the show. You know what I mean? Like if you saw this on television, this is what this is. You pay us because you can't do this. It's simple, it's easy, it's regular business. But we have the US Army stopping you from doing it. So anyway, back to company structures. Everything it's small working groups. We don't have an HR. We don't have that like terrible bloat in the middle. Staying afloat is easy. Government programs, everything that the Wheel of Profit is showing you, we do, and we can collect the revenue from. You just got to grease that wheel. So go to www.theinnovativepotential.com and click the donate button now. Most, if not all of this information is freely available on that website. So help people stop dying. And help yourselves, help your company, help yourselves structure themselves in the COVID world. So if you want a little bit of biology, a little bit of business, we're right dab smack in the center. We're using the same electrical processes for an electronic enzyme to power the company, to power the vision, to power absolutely everything. And if we can do 4% of the cancer cases in Canada and the United States per year, that's a $600 billion market we've created. So invest now, get it while it's hot. If you have skills or services, if you want to make us a Bitcoin type of scenario or something like that, we'll go through Innovative Financial. We'll have our own, we'll have all that kind of wonderful stuff. But I'm going to sign off and hope you enjoy yourselves. All right, I'll be in Ciao. I'm Jordache. I hope you enjoyed our free talk services. If you'd like to know more about Innovative Potential, please check out the website, www.theinnovativepotential.com. I will be posting this to YouTube and sending it to absolutely everybody I know because it's time to pay up. Innovative Potential. Work better.